Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here on Outside with Jeff. Today I'm going to be starting my onion plants. It is February 5th, Saturday, February 5th, and I plan on planting these onions outside in about 6 to 8 weeks. Last year I planted them a little bit earlier, but this year I'm going to plant them middle of March, end of March, so that'll give me 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going to be planting yellow sweet Spanish onions. Planted these last year, they did really well. Plant some red Floyd onions, those did pretty good for me. I have some white sweet Spanish. These did really well for me. This is seed left over from last year, and this is some new seed that I got. So all together, I've got about 600 seeds worth. What I like to do is I use these cells here, and I'll fill them with soil, and then I'm gonna put about 6 to 10 seeds per. I like it to grow pretty thick, and then when it comes time to plant, when the onions start growing, and when they get about 4 or 5 inches tall, I'll come through with scissors and snip them, and that'll help them from falling over and getting too leggy and collapsing and losing their structure. And then once the weather's nice, middle of March, end of March, that time frame, I'll be planting them out in the garden. So I'm here in zone 6. Worked out really well last year. We had a really good onion crop. I think I grew about 120 onions or so. This year I'm looking to more than double that as far as total harvest production. So let's get right into it. For the planting material, I just use Miracle-Gro potting mix. I don't use a mix specifically for seed starting. I have not had any problems by using this mix. It works out just fine. If you prefer to use a seed starting mix, just use whatever you want. Do not use soil from the garden though. It can have contamination. It can mold on you is the problem. You want something that's clean as far as, doesn't have any disease in it. You don't want it to mold, mildew, grow algae, anything like that. And if you try to start seeds in garden soil inside, you can run into issues with those things. It can get a white mold on the top. It can grow algae. Just things that can happen that can kind of throw off your seed starting experience. And I like to give myself the best chance of success. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm not wanting to completely top these cells off, but just about. And then we're going to come through, we're going to scatter some seeds on top, then we're going to do another light dusting of the soil. So also, if you use garden soil, it's going to be kind of too heavy for indoor starting. It's been my experience, at least. All right, so we got that in there. I like to grow a lot of storage type onions, and that's where you're gonna, the yellow sweet Spanish stores really well. So the majority of the onions that I grow are those Spanish style. They just store really well, and that's what I'm looking for. So just kind of scatter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just, it doesn't have to be exact. That's 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5. There you go. You just want to, it's kind of like planting grass, except not as thick. You don't have to just set each seed, straight down or nothing like that. It's not like you're planting corn where you need to kind of make a dibble, or with tomatoes where you're really precise. You're kind of wanting to grow in a little thick, because onions do really well at growing in thick as far as growing the slips. So the roots when they grow together and they intermingle, you actually you don't really damage them. Whenever you pull them apart, they come apart really easily, and you don't get any like transplant shock or anything like that whenever you go to plant them in the garden. So they're a really hardy plant, and I had a lot of success doing it like this last year. I've also grown them in like a loaf pan, like a banana bread pan, and that worked out well too. But using something that has individual cells like this, it's a lot easier when it goes time to actually, you know, get the plants out. You can just pull that cell out, and it's just a lot easier. Okay, so I've got the seeds in there. Now I'm just going to do a light dusting just to cover those seeds up. And since it's the beginning of February, you know, obviously it's in my part of the country, it's cold. We've got snow on the ground outside. We're in my basement right now. I have a grow light set up, and I have this on a germination mat. This is a germination mat I got off Amazon. I have another video talking about it in my pepper germination video. This is a 10 by 20.75 heat mat. It's a 20 watt, 120 volt. It's a 20 watt mat. It says approximate days to germination. It holds between 70 and 85 degrees. And it has a little chart over here that tells you approximate days till they germinate. Onions are not listed on here, but they usually take, for me at least, about 5 days before they pop up. So that's kind of what you should be expecting. Now what I'm going to do is, I've got the seeds covered up. I'm going to water them. Just come through and water them a little bit. And then after I get them kind of soaked in a little bit, I like to actually fill the bottom tray with some water later on. I'll show you what I do. And it'll help keep it from drying out in between watering. Put about a 1/4 inch of water under there. And these seed starting trays I actually purchased off Amazon. It was a 12 pack. And at the time I paid, I think it was like $16, $17. Wasn't really expensive. It's definitely paid off. I've started so many plants with these trays that it's definitely paid off for me. Next step, if you got them watered in, these seed starting trays at least come with a vented lid. And what this is going to do, it's going to help hold that moisture in and keep that soil from drying out. And that's really going to aid in the germination of these onion seeds rather. Now once a couple of the seeds have popped up, I'll leave those on for another day or so. But once I feel like the majority of the seeds have germinated, then I'll go ahead and take these off and set them to the side, and I won't use them anymore. You're going to want to come down or, you know, check on your seeds. I check on mine daily, make sure the moisture is good. You don't want, once they start growing, you don't want them to dry out. Obviously, you don't want them to dry out at all because the seeds need moisture. They need the correct temperature, and they need something to hold the moisture to germinate. I said earlier I have grow lights. I bought these off of Amazon as well. It's just a regular 4-foot grow light. Once these germinate, I'll bring the light so that it's only, maybe 2 or 3 inches above the starting trays. And that's because I don't want the plants to get too leggy. If your light is too far away from your plants that you're starting, they're just going to get really leggy. So as the plants grow, I'll raise the light up and up and up. And then, like I said, once the plants get about 4 or 5 inches tall, I'll come through with scissors and cut them off. And that's worked really well with me in the past. So that's basically all there is to starting your onion seeds, starting your own onion plants from seeds. You'll find that Starting from seed you'll get a much better crop than if you try to use sets. I did a side-by-side grow last year, slips versus sets. The slips grow a lot larger onions, and they grow longer into the season. The onion sets, they tend to try to go to seed, and they fall over a lot earlier into the growing cycle, and you're not going to get as big of onions. So if you're looking for big onions, the only way to go, in my opinion, is definitely starting from seed or buying onion slips. Last year I was pricing onion slips, and 50 slips was like $18. Well, I can grow 250 onions. The seed's only $3, and I know I'm not going to spend $100 in energy producing those plants. So I'm money well ahead by doing this this way. So thanks for tuning into the video. I hope you decide to grow onions on your own, and have a great day. Thank you.